This video is part 2 of the tutorial for Grab the Grapes, a game in which a user is trying to tap a small picture as it moves around the screen so they can score points. In part 1, you made the small picture and the canvas it moves on. Then you wrote these blocks to create a score, and then say when the image sprite is touched, add 1 to that score, and make the label on the screen show the new score. Next, we want to add making the grapes move. And what we want them to do is move to a new random place each time. Random means the computer will choose where they go. We will not have to say, first grapes go here, then here, then here, then here, then here, then here. We will not have to tell the computer anything about where to put the grapes. We will make some code so that it can choose for us. So how do we do that? Well, maybe you are looking at where it says purple blocks for the image sprite and thinking, wow, I wish there was one that said make the image sprite move to a new random place. But there isn't one of those. So what will we do? We can make our own purple blocks. Purple blocks are called procedures, and we can make our own. You might remember doing something in Python called defining a function. This is almost the same thing. Let's make a purple block to make the grapes move to a random place. Click Procedures, then take the top block. Erase the word procedure and type move grapes. Just like when you name your app, you cannot use a space. So maybe just smush the words together. Then what goes in here? In here we need to put blocks that tell the computer how to move the grapes. It is saying right now, okay, you want to make a purple block called move the grapes? What does that mean? So we will add some blocks here. Click Image Sprite, then scroll down to Image Sprite Move To. It has spots labeled X and Y for X and Y coordinates of where you want to move the grapes to. This is a lot like in math when you have two numbers, X and Y, for saying where a spot is. But we will not put numbers here. We will put some blocks that will make the computer choose a random number for X and a random number for Y. To find those, click Math. Then take the block that says random integer. An integer is a number. Take 2 of those. One for the line that says X and one for the line that says Y. But we don't want to get a random number from 1 to 100. We want to get a random number from 1 to however wide the canvas is. So we will throw away the number 100, then look for a canvas block that says canvas width. So now this says for X, get a random number from 1, which is over here, to however wide the canvas is. If the canvas is 300 pixels wide, then it will get a random number between 1 and 300, excuse me. If it is 500 pixels wide, it will get a random number between 1 and 500. For Y, we need a block that says the canvas height, a number between 1 and the height of the canvas. Throw away the 100 block, then click Canvas, and look for canvas height. So now this says, to move the grapes, you need to make the sprite move to a random spot by getting a random number for x that is between 1 and the canvas width, and a random number for y that is between 1 and the canvas height. So now we have told the computer what it means to move the grapes. We have created the purple block. We have defined the procedure. It's the fancy words for that. Now if you click Procedures, you can see you do have a block now that says Move the Grapes. We need to use that purple block. If we just tried testing this, the grapes would still not move. We have explained to the computer how to move the grapes, but we have not told it when to move the grapes. We need to use that block. Grab that purple block that says Move the Grapes and put it right here, so that now, when the image sprite is touched, it will give you a point, show the new score, then move the grapes. Test this. If you can, try it out and make sure that the grapes can move when you touch them. And what you will probably see is that moving the grapes only after you touch them is still not a very hard game. You can sit and wait for as long as you want to touch the grapes before you get 1 point and move them. So we will make the game a little bit harder by also making the grapes move on their own. To do this, we need to use a new component called a clock. But it is not like a clock on the wall that tells the time. The clock component is like a tiny timer. We can program something to happen every time the timer goes off. Here we will say, set a timer for 1 second, and when that timer goes off, move the grapes. Here's how to do that. Switch back to the designer, then look in the drawer called Sensors, and find the one that says Clock. Grab Clock and drag it onto your phone screen. You will see it is non-visible, but it shows you here and here that now your app has a timer in it. This property right here says how much time to set the timer for. 1000 looks like a lot of time, but it is measuring in milliseconds, and there are 1000 milliseconds in 1 second. So 1000 means 1 second, 500 would be half a second, 2000 would be 2 seconds, and so on. You do not need to change this right now. I just wanted you to understand what it meant. Now, for making the grapes move, we will need to add a gold block that says when the timer goes off, and then we will use our new purple block again to say move the grapes. That looks like this. Then grab the only gold block It says when clock timer, which is a little bit harder to understand than some of the other gold blocks. But it means when the timer goes off, when it runs out of time. Then click Procedures and grab your Move the Grapes block again. Snap it right in there. So now we are using our Move the Grapes block 2 different times. Here we are using it to move the grapes when they are touched, and here we are using it to move the grapes when the timer goes off. This will make the game a lot more fun. And using a procedure, making a purple block, makes the code a lot easier to read. If we did not have that, we would need to put all of these blocks in the same place where we just used Move Grapes before. This will do the same thing as this, but this version is much easier to read and to understand. Now it is time to test your app again. Give it a try. And if you think the grapes move too fast, then make this a bigger number so there is more time. If you think the grapes move too slow, make this a smaller number so there is less time. When you are happy with the speed of your grapes, then there are many other things you can do to have fun with this app. You could put in a different picture, one that you find or make. Linked in the tutorial that is written for this project is a video showing you how to find or make your own small image sprites. If you don't want to change your sprite, then there are many other things you can change to make this game fun. Try using an idea from one of the other projects you have done, like making the grapes play a sound every time you tap them, or making text-to-speech say your score out loud. If you want a challenge, try using if-else blocks to make the grapes get faster as you get more points. Congratulations on finishing your first game.